guys, welcome back to my channel, and today we have the ASUS ZenWifi XD4. And we are going to show you on how easy to configure this ZenWifi AI mesh system, and of course, the actual test on how it performs. First things first, I would like to say thanks to our friends at ASUS Philippines for giving us a chance to review this AI mesh system. And now let us try to check what are the things that are included in the box. We have two XD4 units, two power adapters, an RJ45 cable, a quick start guide, and a warranty card. For the specification, 1 gigabit WAN port which can be used as a LAN port, and an additional 1 gigabit LAN port, Wifi AX1800, dual band 2.4 GHz up to 574 Mbps, and 5 GHz Wi-Fi frequency up to 1201 Mbps, MU-MIMO capable, and later on we will check some of the features of the router as well. And now for the configuration. First, you need to plug the power adapter at the wall outlet, and of course the other end at the bottom of your XD4 Wi-Fi router. And you also need a LAN cable coming from your main modem router or your other source of internet connection. And you need to plug it at the bottom as well, under the WAN/LAN. Okay, plug it under. Right now, this one is not yet powered on. We're just going to configure our main Wi-Fi mesh router. Okay, and we will be using our mobile phone or the mobile app from ASUS, the ASUS router application. And open that one. And of course, we need to connect to this Wi-Fi router first, which is, it should be ASUS_AP. Obtaining IP address, and connected. And then after that one, we need to go to the application now, ASUS router, and click the plus sign button. And of course, Wi-Fi network has no internet access because it is not yet configured. Then connect. Then set up a new router. And this one will be the ASUS ZenWifi series router. And it will automatically detect the ZenWifi router. Okay, and there you go. There is ZenWifi AX Mini. Signal connection is great, and click that one. Then after that one, for the setup guide, set up your node, click next, and get started. Okay, there is no special requirement for my ISP, hit next. And the Wi-Fi network name SSID, the one that I'll be using for, will be ASUS XD4. Okay, and hit next, and the password will be just the simple 12345678990. And we won't be separating the 2.4 and 5 GHz Wi-Fi frequency. This is called the Smart Connect. And enter then your Wi-Fi keys to it just for the sake of testing. Click OK. And the username that we will set will be admin, and of course the password will be common as well, admin 1234566 asterisk. Then the other one is admin 1234566 asterisk. Then hit enter. And setting up your network, wait for a couple of minutes for this one. Okay, and it seems that we are already configured, and we have here the ASUS XT4. Unfortunately, I was able to save the password earlier when I'm doing the test, so it automatically connected to the ASUS XT4. But for your side, you will enter or connect again to the SSID that you have created and enter the password again. For us, it is already connected. And of course, for the system setup, it is doing something like a network optimization and other configuration as well, but we should be able to access the internet for now. And wait for this one, skip, and good connection, Wi-Fi name, then finish. Then we have our ZenWifi Mini. Then maybe disagree for this one first, then okay, then just agree, enable remote connection, so you'll be able to access remotely your Wi-Fi router. Okay, then let us go to the devices, and currently we only have one ZenWifi Mini, and under home we only have one ZenWifi AX Mini as well. meaning we didn't configure yet the mesh node, and we're going to configure the mesh node now. Okay, now for the other AI mesh node, the other XT4, we need to plug a power adapter as well on the wall, and of course the other end at the power socket in here. Okay, and go to that one. Then let's wait for a couple of minutes. It will automatically configure itself connected to this main AI mesh router, and this will be the AI mesh node. And there you have it, guys. It is still optimizing, I think, but upon checking on our mobile application, we already have two Wi-Fi router, which is the AI mesh main router, and of course the AI mesh node. And let's try to check the mesh system. So the devices AI mesh, we already have two, so you can actually rename the other one if you want. For the location, maybe set it to maybe basement, and so you can actually distinguish which one is which and where is it actually located. For us, we have set the main router as a home and the other one as a node on the basement. And as you can see here, the specification or the connection or uplink for this mesh node is 5 GHz Wi-Fi frequency, and technically you can place it anywhere around the house where it can still get access or connection from the main AI mesh router. And of course, you can also use a LAN cable, and maybe we're going to show you that one later on. And now let us try to check the configuration or the features that we can do with this ASUS ZenWifi XD4. For the web management console, it's 192.168.50.1. That was the default gateway and the web management console IP that we will be using for our Wi-Fi router. And the username that we have set earlier is admin, and the password is admin1234 asterisk, then sign in. Okay, after that one, you will be redirected to the main page, which is you can actually see the clients connected, the AI mesh node connected, and the system status. Like for instance, we have here the Smart Connect. This is actually enabled because we want the Wi-Fi router to set the best available Wi-Fi connection to our devices. If you disable this one, you'll be able to see there will be different 2.4 and 5 GHz Wi-Fi SSID for each Wi-Fi frequency. And we have here the status. For the status, you can see here the basic information of your hardware usage, like for example the CPU and the RAM as well. And the next tab will be the AI mesh. Okay, under the AI mesh, you'll see some information regarding the mesh network that you have. Right now, we have here the main Wi-Fi that we have set, which is home, and the ZenWifi AX Mini, which is attic. We name it attic so we won't be confused if we want to troubleshoot on where are we actually connected. So right now, you can see here the basic information, like for example for home, you can see here the clients that are currently connected, and it is actually assigned to 5 GHz Wi-Fi frequency, this Huawei P30 Pro. And for the ZenWifi AX Mini, the attic, the computer is actually connected as well, and it's also connected to 5 GHz Wi-Fi frequency. And at the same time, you will see some information regarding your AI mesh node. Like for instance, this one is using the uplink type of wireless 5 GHz Wi-Fi frequency. So it is not currently using a wired or Ethernet backhaul for our connection or from this mesh node to the main Wi-Fi mesh router. And for the next one, we have here the guest network. Okay, for the guest network, you can actually create a guest network or guest Wi-Fi for your guest or visitor if you want. So they will have their own dedicated SSID and bandwidth usage. Like for example, you can create one, you can hide the SSID if you want, or show, and then SSID name, authentication method, access time, and if you want them to access the intranet that you have, you can also enable that one, or enable or disable the MAC filter of the devices that you want to access the internet. And the next step will be the AI protection. Guys, this will be the Trend Micro Smart Home Connect, and this will be the one responsible for your AI protection from your malicious site blocking, infected device prevention blocking, and router security assessment. And the next one will be the parental controls. Okay, for the parental controls, this is actually responsible for blocking the internet access on the devices if you want to limit their internet connection during this time, or if you want to block these devices. Yes, you can actually do that one. For example, we have here annihilation, then maybe we can set this click add, then show you just the how to configure this one. Weekdays, weekend, you can set this one, the time on when do you want them to be blocked on internet access. And the next one will be the QoS. We only have two for the QoS, which is the traditional QoS and the bandwidth limiter. Okay, for the bandwidth limiter, this is where you can actually specify the devices on how much bandwidth you will give them or assign to them. Like for example, maybe this mobile phone, and you can set the download and upload bandwidth. And aside from that one, from this QoS tab, we have here the internet speed. Okay guys, this is actually useful, the internet speed, because you can actually test your actual internet bandwidth that you are getting from your internet service provider or the modem that your internet service provider provided you. Because the reason is, if you have a mobile phone that is only capable of 100 Mbps, but your actual subscription is more than 200 Mbps, regardless of the bandwidth of if it's higher, you will only get 100 Mbps or less from your mobile devices because it is not actually capable of connecting with a higher bandwidth. So this one is to able to check the actual internet that you're actually getting from your internet service provider, even though your mobile devices or gadgets are not capable of having that bandwidth capability. So other information regarding this one, there is actually a history and an information on the internet speed that you have. Right now, we have 291 Mbps of download and 299 Mbps of upload, which give us super connection, which supports many 4K stream gaming. This is just an information that how good is your internet bandwidth is. And the next one will be the traffic monitor. Okay, there is also information on the traffic monitor on how much is actually currently being used on your internet connection, and there are other things as well. And now we are going to the advanced settings. Okay guys, for the advanced settings, I'll just mention some of the things that I really like to inform you, but most of these things in here we won't be discussing because it will take a long time to discuss these informations. Okay, and now let us go with the wireless. For the wireless, this is where you can actually configure your wireless network if you want to micromanage. There are a lot of things that you can do in here, like for example, Wi-Fi 6 mode. You can enable or disable this one if you really don't have any Wi-Fi 6 devices, so there won't be any issue. And authentication method, you can actually choose from personal to WPA2 or WPA3. And aside from that one, for the channel bandwidth of 2.4 and 5 GHz Wi-Fi frequency. And okay, the thing that I'll be discussing here is the wireless MAC filter. This is actually important for you guys if you really want to have a secure network. Like for example, if you want to enable this one, so I want to block a device on 2.4 or 5 GHz Wi-Fi frequency, for example. So let's choose 5 GHz Wi-Fi frequency, meaning that if you enable this one, if you can reject or accept. If you want to reject this device, like for example this annihilation, you can disable this device on connecting on your Wi-Fi network. Okay, and you can choose on which band you want them to be connected, or you can disable their connection on both band. Okay, and next one will be it has a radio setting, professional roaming blacklist, and now we're going to the LAN. Okay, for the LAN, this is basically where you can actually set the DHCP server. And the important thing in here is there is a manually assigned IP around the DHCP list. Okay, meaning you can set a static IP on a specific device if you want. Like for example, this is actually useful for servers or network printer, because you don't want those servers or printer to renew their IP address every time they reboot, or there is a time limit for the list time of those IP address. So it is actually important to give them a specific IP. So every time they boot, they will receive the same IP address, and it is actually reserved for them. And the next tab will be 1. Okay, under 1, this is actually the internet configuration from your wide area network. You can configure this one. There is a port trigger, virtual server, port forwarding, DMC, and NAT pass-through and DDNS. And the next one will be for the Alexa voice command if you want to configure that one. So we won't be taking this one for now. And the IPv6 if you want to enable or disable IPv6 on this Wi-Fi router. And you also have your VPN. You can configure here your VPN server, VPN client, or instant card. And aside from that one, you have here the firewall. Okay, for the firewall, guys, I'll try to show you the importance of the firewall. This is where you can actually block some sites or websites that you want. Like, for example, on the URL filter, you can create a site that you want to block or won't be accessible for your devices that are connected to the internet. Like, for example, I have added here just adult site. This is actually adult site. I'm just blurring it, but it's an adult site and Facebook. So this won't be accessible every time you access this on a web page. Okay, so you can add as much as you want, but there is actually there's actually a limit of 64, but it will actually identify like, say, for example, as you can see here for the example XXX, it will block sites that has XXX naming on those websites. Okay, and aside from that one, you have keyword filter and network service filter. The next one will be the administration. Okay, under the administration, guys, I was really surprised regarding this one because I was not able to see a repeater mode on this operation mode. There is only 3: wireless router mode, access point, and AI mesh node. So there are 3 options that you can configure this XD4. And you have here the system and the firmware upgrade. If you want to upgrade your firmware, technically I usually upgrade the firmware, but always reserve an old firmware in case there are issues with the new firmware that you have installed. That is actually a good suggestion. And aside from that one, we have here the system lag and the network tool as well. And for the network tool, this is just for testing, and you can configure the smart connect rule that we have mentioned earlier. And now the actual test on how good is this XD4 ZenWifi is. First is we are just going to test the actual performance of just one node, meaning that we need to turn off this one for now. And guys, we have a 300 Mbps subscription plan from Converge, and for our baseline testing, just standing in front of the XD4 mesh router, we are able to get around 285 Mbps of download while 266 Mbps of upload. And now let us try to head up to the roof deck, and I'm actually showing you the build of the house, which is we have a solid concrete walls, a concrete stairs, and a concrete slab or flooring on the 3rd floor. For the speed, we are actually able to get around 41.5 Mbps of download and 27.6 Mbps of upload. And now let us try to go downstairs or on the ground floor, while the XT4 router remains on the 2nd floor, and our actual internet speed is around 48.5 Mbps of download and 36.6 Mbps of upload. Now, the last speed test would be on the master's bedroom, which is on the same floor where the router is, 2nd floor. And we have a solid wooden door on this room and concrete wall as well. And yet, we are able to get 223 Mbps of download and 207 Mbps of upload. Yes, the actual performance of a single XT4 mesh router is actually great. You have seen on how it performs. Basically, we are able to have internet access all over the house. And I believe it is not enough for some, like me, with an average of 40 plus Mbps on the roof deck and on the ground floor is somehow decent, and actually it might fluctuate, but that is actually good. So we need to set up a mesh node to improve our Wi-Fi connection on those areas. So we are going to test powering on a mesh node on the ground floor using a wireless backhaul and see the actual improvement and using our speed test. A while ago, connecting to the main XT4 router on the second floor, we are just getting 48 Mbps of download and 36 Mbps of upload. And now we are able to get around 140 Mbps of download and 155 Mbps of upload. That is more than double or almost triple our speed test a while ago. That was actually a significant speed. We're still using a wireless backhaul for that one, and yet it is actually a great performance. And of course, we also tried via LAN cable backhaul, which is actually the best solution as you can see. But it actually depends on you if you have a LAN cable already plugged in or lying around on the wall, or when you try to build the house, there is already an outlet for a LAN cable. That is actually useful, and it will be great because you won't see any LAN cable dangling around all over the place. It is hidden, and that will be great. But it is really up to you if you want to use a wireless or a wired backhaul. And we are still not satisfied. Yes, we are able to get a great bandwidth or a great improvement in speed, but it does not matter if you have poor latency. So we are going to test our favorite Mobile Legends game and see if it will perform great. I would like to apologize in advance for the small screen on the game because I actually want to show you that we are still connected on the XT4 router. No cheat or no bias. We are connected on the XT4 router. First is directly connected to the main XT4 mesh router, and hopefully you can see that one. There is actually a single digit latency even though we are on the other side of the wall on this room and or on the stair or in the bedroom. Single digit latency, guys. And now how about connecting to the XT4 mesh node on the ground floor? And it is actually using a wireless backhaul. And guys, as you can see, it didn't disappoint. Even though we are connected on the mesh node using a mesh wireless backhaul, it was amazing. We are still on a single digit latency on Mobile Legends, and I believe it will be the same with the other game. A great latency, a great performance for your online gaming needs. And now for the verdict and recommendation. Guys, again, ASUS never fails to amaze me. Even though this is actually a small compact unit, it performs great as what you have seen on the range test and gaming test. My only issue with this unit is that it actually gets warm, but not to a point where the devices are getting disconnected and the internet connections are getting dropped. And this unit still deserves a 5-star because we are actually considering the price range. It might not have a tri-band like the ASUS XT4 with the capability of dedicated wireless backhaul, but it is just less than half the price of that one. And for only around 12K for the 2-pack and 18K for the 3-pack version on ASUS official store in Lazada, you can have a great AI mesh system to cover your entire house. And remember that if you purchase a 2-pack system and you think only one node is actually capable or already enough for your entire house, you can actually sell the other unit because both unit actually is capable of fully functioning Wi-Fi router. So even though the other one is you can give it to your friend or sell it, it will work as a Wi-Fi router as well. So if you want an easy configuration with your Wi-Fi router that has a ton of features and a minimalist looking design, definitely get the ASUS XD4 ZenWifi router. It won't disappoint. And I think that is all, guys. I have covered the features and the performance of this Wi-Fi router. If you like the video, hit that like button. And if you're not yet subscribed, hit that subscribe button as well so we can create more content like this testing. And if you have comment and suggestion, comment down below or message me at JK Chavez on FB. Again, guys, thanks for watching. Have a great day, stay safe, and bye!